Doing a quick sound check. Someone can say yes, hello. Oh, terrific, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, and we're live. Hello, everyone. This is Angelina, and I would like to warmly welcome and thank each one of you for joining us here today for the SMATA World webinar. Daylight savings time has started for some of us, so thank you for making the adjustment in your time of day to join us again. Please remember to hold all of your questions and comments until the Q&A time is announced after Noel speaks. Now, without any further delay, it's a great pleasure to introduce to you our speaker for today, Mr. Noel Adams, the founder of Next Level Africa and our CEO and leader of the SMATA team. Welcome, Noel.
Everybody. It's been a while since we've had our last webinar, so I've got to look at all the controls to make sure that I remember how to work everything out there. We've had quite a bit of work going on in the background, and I do want to particularly thank our admin team out there. They've particularly done a lot of work and just trying to keep people informed with what we've got going there, and we are trying to just release what we know. And I know the anxiety for all of us is probably something that is happening to all of us, but nevertheless we are slowly getting there. I'll bring you up to speed to as I go through this now with some of the things we're doing. Okay, line 7. I'll start off with line 7. The programmers are loading that in. One of the issues that's popped up with line 7 is that, and this is through some of our gifted accounts and promotional accounts, we're going through them now, that there have been duplications on wallet addresses, and the system just doesn't like it. You might remember we had about 5 accounts that were there that people couldn't log into because to do with the e-commerce, and it was to do with the wallet addresses. Now look, the programmers do charge us to fix that. So the company paid for all of those just to get them going out there, because backwards and forwards to people with wallets, there's a time factor on it. And so they do put a charge on it, and the charge is $50. So consequently, we're trying to make sure we get the thing sorted out, because once they load it in, we can't do anything about it then. So they contacted us about that. So we are working on that now to try and alleviate the number of double up on the wallet addresses. Once line 7 goes in, we're going to be putting a bit of extra effort into the humanitarian projects. We'll be then starting to go through the entire listing of projects in the way of just personal projects, our charities, our humanitarian, to get them all in line to make sure they're correct, and all of the things required are on there, so that we've got on top of that, because as you know, the banks are going to be allocating 100 billion a year to us for the humanitarian projects, and we want to start getting that in place. So therefore we need to get as many in place as we can, because I need to be in the States to sign off on this, so we want to get it happening as soon as possible. So that's really holding up line 7. I signed off on it a couple of weeks ago, but they contacted me and said they're having this issue. This just seems to be always an issue, but this is something to do with us on allocation of the gifted accounts. The line 6 BCN accounts, just to cover that, they're now being totally corrected there, so that we've had a couple of issues with them. Angelina has been spending a bit of time on that, going through each and every one of them, so members who qualify for the BCN line 6 account will be issued with those, the ones that haven't got them. Some have been issued out there very, very shortly. We're just almost completed on that. So, but nevertheless, there's no need to worry. The positions are already there. So any coin that comes in from line 7 going in will go to those accounts. They've already been allocated from us here. So those accounts, all line 6 accounts, will have coins coming their way. Just to cover another thing, the reposting in the rooms. What we actually have going on out there, we've got people preempting, guessing cryptic messages, and consequently it has added a fair bit of stress on admin, because we have some members that not only post in the room and send off their requests to support, they also make contact with other admin members as well. So sometimes we can have 2 or 3 people dealing with one person and what they're asking. So we are going to be contacting a couple of members that seem to think that the room is the place that they vet their own personal things, because some things, if they're personal to you, there's no problem, there's no reason you want to have other people affected, because they contact us to ask us questions, and that's to do with that particular person's account. It's only a small number of people doing it, but it is annoying out there. So we're going to contact some people to ask them to not post in the room at all, that they must send it to support, not to various admin members out there to do it, because the reason we try to have it in support, it gives us a record of what's been said, and each of our support group can go in there and see the response that we've made. But when members go to different members of the admin and support team, they could get a slightly different answer. So if it goes into our support email structure, at least we know what we're dealing with there. And so we really want to make sure that's something that we do. I'll just also add in that, look, in some ways I do want to apologise, but I've had to do it. I've had a lot of people, I wake up in the morning sometimes there with 20 or 30 messages asking me what's happening, and consequently it just takes up my time reading the messages as well. So I do apologise for any members that I've had to block, but I just can't read all these messages, and some of them can be important. So if there's anything that you need, the best thing is sending it to support. That way you'll get something out there that you're going to be able to get an answer to. there's sometimes a bit of humour, and I've got to confess I'm probably the worst in the world at trying to look at humour on things out there. And someone's made a comment that was a humorous comment, and then I made a comment back to indicate about investors purchasing, and it's been taken the wrong way, and then the same group of people that come in and look for holes in everything that's posted out there and just create 20 or 30 messages going backwards and forwards in the Skype rooms. So I'll refrain from doing that, because it's I do get into trouble. I mean, Angelina gives me a rap on that, because she is the one that's dealing with all of this all the time, so I only make work for our admin group, and I do apologise for that. So you know, it's, as I said, we want to try and arrest these couple of people that just seem to go off and do cryptic messages in the rooms there to try and keep that under wraps a little bit. So now the other thing too is that, and I'll lead into where we're going with a few of the other things in the way of investors and stuff like that, but there are a number of reasons out there why the investors may or may not have done what we expect them to do out there, and I want to just cover the listing of coins in the exchange and what they mean. Over the last couple of weeks, there's been, we've taken it for granted that people that have coins listed there in the NLA, in the duck section, have them listed at $31. They've been there forever, $31. And we've assessed that those people, whether it's one or more, have walked. You know, they're no longer interested in next level Africa, and I can fully understand that. So they haven't changed it. The price has been like that forever. But you do get people, and there was one there that listed coins at $9. Now, I want you to understand that our investors see this as well. And I would say to the person or persons that listed a coin there for $9, I would have to ask why. What were you trying to achieve? Because selling them, you're not going to sell them at that. Not when there's deals going on with exchanging cryptocurrency for cryptocurrency, much better than that. So trying to achieve a sale, you won't get it. If you're trying to discourage the investors, well, you're certainly achieving that, because they certainly look at it, because the investors, one of the main questions they ask is, how long are the NLA members going to be dumping coins out there and getting them for $1? Well, you know, we do know that we want to end that as quickly as we can once we get ourselves sorted out with the lines going back in, because it's really holding us back and having to answer questions for the investors. Because, look, there are some people out there, this is a business. This is a total business, and we're in the, everyone sells something out there, and this is a business of selling. And we have some people that are so backwards that they couldn't sell, couldn't have sold Osama bin Laden to the Americans. They just have no idea. So it's really understanding, and we can tell that on the posts. I mean, I've been involved in sales for 50 years, and some people that post out there and the arguments backwards and forwards, I can tell that they've got no idea what they're doing, what they're trying to do. So just be aware of the exchange. Look, with the exchange of cryptocurrency for cryptocurrency, I can't tell you who's doing the best deal. I mean, I have my own feelings about it, but the proof is when they're sold, I guess. But we have people selling the NLA coin for Bitcoin, and the going price there seems to be about $2 per NLA coin. And some of the words approximately, just rounding it all off, about 2,000 NLA coins for 1 Bitcoin. Now, I'm not sure how you work out who's doing the best deal. I think they're both doing a good deal, because I feel comfortable that the Bitcoin will recover and go up in value, and I'm very confident that the NLA coin will certainly do that as well once we get our lines and just get things sorted out with the with what's going on through the exchanges, with the sales that are happening there. I know that we will. So that part of it, that's always going to happen. I mean, I've made comparisons. If I were to exchange silver for someone's gold out there, who would know who's done the best deal until we sell it? We do know that if you sell something for fiat currency and you sell it for $1, chances are tomorrow that is still worth $1. But when you exchange for stored value crypto, who knows what the value is going to be tomorrow? So that's the difference that you do get. There's an area out there that we have that we look at that, and I mean, I personally wouldn't exchange my NLA coins for the $2 value on Bitcoin, but I can understand where people are doing it, and there's different reasons why people are doing it out there. So I guess the proof in the pudding will be when you actually sell the coin as to how you've gone with it. Because remember, there's a lot of people that are selling their NLA coin at exchange for $2. They've actually either received it in commission structure, or they paid $1 for the coin. So they're making the sale as well. Probably not as much as I think they'd like to make, but they are making on it. So that's really just all I wanted to say on that. So just be aware that the investors do look at the value, and we're forever trying to keep them in a comfort zone with it. Just to let you know where we are with the investors, and this is one of the reasons why we called the webinar off last week, is that we now have our development manager, Maynard Vessels, who was in London. He left on Tuesday. It's not like my Tuesday of this week, to go to London. He's been there. He's going over with the sole purpose of trying to sort out what is going on with the investors, and what the reason is they haven't engaged in the purchasing the coin. They're all the funds ready. There's nothing stopping them our end. So he's over there working with the banks in order to get that side of it fixed up. So it's sometimes hard to get. It's hard enough to get contact with Maynard when he's in South Africa, but when he's off in London, it can be a difficult one to get contact with him. But nevertheless, I should imagine whatever he's doing there will be sorted out this week. So hopefully by the weekend, Monday, we'll have some information as to what is going on. And it could be that we don't actually get the information, we just simply see it in the exchange, because they don't have to report to us when they're going to do something out there. They just simply do it. The other thing is the blockchain. As you know, on that, I mentioned before that I simply paid to have the blockchain put in place. It's heading for 5 months ago now. I have absolutely no idea what's holding it up. Jamie, the programmer, he told me that they're doing it. So what the hold up is, I have absolutely no idea. And he is an extremely difficult person to pin down as well. So that's with some programmers, that's how they tend to work. And he has been a nightmare to work with. So all I can say is we've done our bit, we've paid, that's all we can do, and then we're waiting for it to go into place. So hopefully that can happen sometime very, very soon. I ask every single day. There's not a day that goes by I don't ask what's happening with it, but I don't necessarily get an answer. So, so I'm just hoping we get something from them. That's what our development manager is going to be bringing up with London to try and chase him up on getting some of this completely sorted out. Finally, I'll go over to the e-commerce and what it means. The e-commerce platform that we're building. Look, we've been putting a presentation together now for the last probably 3 to 4 months to make sure the bank can tick off on everything, to make sure that each part of it we're doing is legal, and they've got their legal team looking at it. This has been a project that wasn't started 3 or 4 months ago, and look, one of the things I do want to mention, because I did notice him on the call here, we have Mr. Patrick Tuttle. Welcome, Patrick. Patrick is one of the architects behind this e-commerce platform that goes back probably 5 years ago now. So it's not something that's just been dragged out, but we're tailoring it to suit the next level Africa coin, and the whole thing will be structured around that. Because as I mentioned before, the bank are now investing the NLA, so we don't get any of the funds that go into our asset account do not come from the Chingaling side of things. It comes from the NLA investment. So therefore, it's through sale of the of coin, and also to the asset account and how that works. So as you know, we've reached our 20 billion. We're on about 24 billion in the asset account. And so what's happening is the bank are managing an investment for us, and that investment has now grown to 47 billion was the last I heard. It just continues to grow. So consequently, you've got things happening out there that are in an area where we are looking to capitalise on that. So the amount of dollars floating through that, we're able to use them through this e-commerce platform that we're building. Now we're building about 5 levels of income structure coming into this, and one of the things that we're building into it will be a force matrix, because the free entry in there is in the uni level. But we're going to build a force matrix in there to have a team build within this whole operation out there as well. So it'll be, once we get it worked out, because remember this, that what we want to do is introduce our coin to the merchants. That's really where we're going with this. We want the retailers worldwide to start feeling comfortable with our coin because it's backed by the bank. And you know, people have asked questions out there that HSBC Bank are one of the banks involved. There's 76 banks involved in this this whole conglomerate of what's going on, because the humanitarian program started before they were introduced to initially the Chingaling coin. They could see the Chingaling coin as being the answer to their stored value, and now they could operate their humanitarian program. So it was already started before we came along. It's just that we were that missing a good understanding with the banks to make sure that we are not in a position where there's any loose ends there. And one of them is that we need to make sure that we can prove we've paid people. In other words, I just want to use easy figures on this. If we are then open to send out and pay out 1,000 NLA coins, we want to make sure that's covered by being able to see in the history of where it was paid out. Because what we do from that is that we then draw, if we pay out 1,000 NLA coins to the members in the comp plan, we then draw that from the account in the terms of dollars, and we use those dollars to purchase coins from the exchange. So in doing that, instead of paying members in fiat currency, paying them in coin and then purchasing the coin through the exchange will simply allow the coin to grow in value. So it's really important out there that we understand why we're doing this, as this becomes part of what we're doing, the whole e-commerce side of it. And social media platform will be something that we have got a large amount of money to promote. And because of how we're going to be promoting it, I don't see any retailer that won't want to become part of this and bring their member base into it. So I can see that running this the way we're going to do it, once we launch it and get the final okay from the bank, and that's what our development managers over there now, presenting the whole thing to the bank as well. And I can see us growing to 100 million members in the first year. Simply because of the word of mouth that we'll get out about this. So, look, I do want to congratulate the members that have taken up the option of with the e-commerce platform, because there's probably going to be quite a few questions and explanation we'll need on it. We'll be getting out the videos. We're doing them up now, but we just get, each time we present it to the bank, they've pointed things out to us that we've had to go and change things on this, so we just haven't been able to cement that in, but that's all being completed now. Look, that completes what the information I've got, so I'm just passing on to you as we have it. So some people might see that as a lot of information, some people might see it as not so much information, but it is what it is. It's what we've got going out there and what we've heard. So I'm going to pass this back to Angelina to organise any Q&A. And where I can answer, I'll certainly answer it. Some of it we
were saying that your mic sounds a little bit reverberating. It might be too loud. But anyway, that going forward, we are appreciative of everyone being here. We've got quite a number of people here on our call today, which is terrific. So we've got questions coming in. Okay, the first one would be from Stephen asking about CEX. Can very old orders be canceled? It would alleviate some issues you just mentioned. I'm not sure what orders you mean. Sell orders can, of course, be canceled. But you might want to clarify what old orders you're referring to there, Stephen. And previously it was mentioned that you were trying to establish a direct link between SMATA and the bankers. I'm going to guess on that one, but you might want to clarify that one as well, Stephen, that what direct link you mean by SMATA and the bankers. So that being said, while Stephen is clarifying those two points, maybe Noel, you could start with Anika with her question about the market maker.
Just turn your headset down or your speakers down. It might help out there. So I've been told I'm too low and sometimes too high, but if you can turn yours down, you might find it's a bit better for you. Look, just on that, Stephen, I'm not sure what you mean by a direct link between SMATA and the bankers. I'm not sure what that means. It is pretty obvious that in CEX you can cancel whole orders, but some of the ones I spoke of have been there forever. $31, they've just been there forever. So, and in fact, members probably have been cancelling their orders all the way through to in order to get things happening out there, because it's one of those areas that each time the price goes up, it just simply means that that you need to readjust it. And incidentally, as far as pricing, there will be a price increase. They're trying to do that before the investors engage, so there's going to be a price increase possibly in the next couple of days. But look, if I say that and it's not there, then people come back to me on it, but that's all I was told, that there is going to be a price, because it hasn't been one now for about 3 to 4 weeks, so there's one due very, very shortly. Nika, so where are I? To date, the market maker has generally adjusted the NLA coin price on CX twice a month based on the bank's investment and contribution to the NLA asset account. And once any active trading comes, look, the market maker can only adjust when the money goes into the asset account. He's called upon then to do. He works independent. We have no way of working out. He works out what money goes in the asset account, what coins have been sold, the price is sold for, and then works out the value of the coin from there. So it's not something we've got any control over at all, with what the market maker sets on the asset account. And for that matter too, how many times the money goes into the asset account. It has been twice a month, but with delays on things that they're doing, sometimes it can go a bit longer. But we are due for another increase now. I can't tell you what the increase would be, I have no idea, but you'll certainly see it. Comes up. Stephen, see, is it possible to request a new trading pair for for Bitcoin and Duck? Yeah, look, I'm not sure on that one, Stephen. I'll have to check on it. I don't know whether they really want that in there to be purchasing Bitcoin. I think that's something that other exchanges will deal with. It's just really exchanging the Bitcoin for other cryptocurrencies? Oh, okay, Tim, good question there on the because of the delay in getting the lines in. They're not going to do the request for upgrading until they get the rest of the lines in. So that will happen once we do that. I've already requested line 8. So line 8 is on its way. So that will go in a lot quicker because it's just this in between there where we had accounts being signed over and where the wallet addresses is possible to make an enhancement where the internal transfer of duct between both exchanges can take place at zero cost. Once again, there on that, Stephen, that's not something that we've got control over. Even though they both go to the same bank account details, they are different, and so that's something that's managed by the bank. So really can't answer the costing on that, internal charges on things for transferring duct. We are trying to find out whether you can actually transfer withdrawals to a separate account, but there's KYC out there, so we're trying to work out whether you can list another account. But talk to a bank about zero cost, does that exist out there? So yeah, look, there's Rimmer's asking about doing something with line 8 and line 9. We're dealing with line 7 for now, so let's just get that out of the way, and then we'll deal with line 8 and 9 as we get to it. Nigel, yes, look, the investors can purchase. There's nothing stopping them. It's got nothing to do with the blockchain out there. That's just another issue out there that's going on. So the investors are clear to purchase as soon as they feel they can do it, and that's what our development managers over in the UK now trying to sort out still what the hold up is. James is asking about has a document been put in place to explain the structure of the operation? That's what we're actually doing now with it, James, to get the the final okay from the bank, because whilst we'll be running it, they just want to sign off on every aspect of it and then run it past their legal people to make sure that we're all legal on what we're doing there with it, and just statements that we make. Sometimes just a word can be something that it becomes an issue that's going to be changed. So once the banks sign off on it, we'll be able to do it. We can talk about it, but we can't actually show you the structure on how we're doing it until they sign off. Once they do that, we'll be right. So that with cancelling the coin orders. We can't cancel members' coin orders out there, so it's something that, look, eventually, if the investors start to buy, someone's going to pick up some fairly decent price coins. So maybe a lot of people don't want to see them go at this point until they actually buy them. Yeah, there's an issue with the program that's just cancelling it there, Stephen. So we can't redo it. Oh, a communication link you're talking about. Look, I deal directly with the department that manage the entire NLA Smart operation there. So the head of that department, I do deal directly with him, but a lot of things that are going on, they're outside of his control. They're tied up with programmers and they're tied up with just other things out there. So it's not as though I can even get an answer until he is back on what's going on out there. So it's not something that I can just ask a question and get a direct answer out there. So we're just waiting. It's all in the hands of programmers and also with the investors on their understanding of how they trade in the exchange. And does the e-commerce rotator place people randomly or in some sequence under those who have a rotator position as a founding member? Once you go into the rotator, Jan, that's it, you're in the rotator, and the rotator, that's what it does, it just jumps from one to the other. And so as you get your required amount of sign-ups, it just moves on to the next particular person out there. So anyway, that's where it is with what we've got going. Well, the blockchain is something that I've paid for. Once it goes out there, the blockchain will be registered. Will give you the link to the blockchain and where it is. So it's not something that well, we do have the link there on the blockchain. So once we confirm it, then we'll make sure everyone knows about it. So the question here from Felicia, do you foresee taking months or years before NLA is introduced to the world? It's been 5 years now, so yeah, years. But we are getting closer to that now, and the e-commerce that we're working on to do should certainly bring it in. You know, when we started out there with Next Level Africa, we were looking to put a payment structure in there just using fiat currency. And what the problem you have is that a lot of merchants will not accept crowdfunding platforms. That's very, very hard to get a payment structure. And when you do the MLM component of it, they're really backing off it. So that's why we went for our own crypto out there. So then all of a sudden it became what was the business? Was the business Next Level Africa crowdfunding, or was the business cryptocurrency? So we've had this bit of a once people understand the coin and what it can do, all of them out there will certainly have interest in what we're doing. Phil's asking where the e-commerce site is built. Look, the South African programmers have been working on it for 5 years. That's where it has been built over there. So, but once it's built and it's running, you don't use the servers are not going to be in South Africa. So it's not as though everything runs out of South Africa. That's where the programmers are based, that's where we built, but the actual running of the site will not be run from South Africa. When will the NLA coin be launched? Once again, we're waiting on that to happen out there, and I thought I'd cover that. It's all in the hands of the programmer, so we're still waiting on him to do that again. I'm just reading this. I know you already answered a lot of this, but we'll send this anyway, as it's from a family member who can't be here. What have the banks and NOL done to promote the CX to the crypto markets? The banks don't do anything. I mean, when I say what have the banks done, they brought the investors along. That they are the bank's investors, people that do spend billions of dollars. I might have indicated there a couple of weeks ago, one of the investors they have with the Chingaling wanted to convert the Chingaling over to NLA coin out there, but he's managed to lose his backup of his wallet, and he is looking at losing $7 billion worth of Chingaling. I don't know what that represents. I know it would represent to me, but I don't know what that represents in terms of some of these investors. But they have some fairly big players out there. So the bank is certainly doing their thing, and they've indicated to me that they'll do anything that they can to help support what we're doing, such as recommending our coin. And the bank's going to be recommending the coin to the merchants, obviously out there, so they'll be doing their thing, and once we get started with that, then we'll be going about it as far as we're concerned. I don't particularly want to put the NLA coin onto any other exchange at this point, so I'm just holding it back for now, and we'll address that as we get going, because I'm really trying to create a market where people have got to come to our exchange and purchase and sell the coin. Oh, okay, David, thank you. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. It's coming up for everybody, I guess. So I'll have to get down to the city and visit some of our beautiful Irish pubs we've got down there. You can tell the Irish on there wanting to get this St. Patrick's Day. It's a big celebration, and that's worldwide, actually, isn't it? Rem was asking Andrew, with the e-commerce account, when an email was submitted for positions as a founder, the reply was unclear. Can this be revisited, please? Okay, look, Angelina is looking after all of that, so if you submit anything you have to the support email they have that you're not clear on, she'll certainly do that for you as well. I don't want to address it on here. So usually, if you just resubmit that to support. Phil, e-commerce site, where is it built? Not South Africa, I hope. Well, as I said, I've mentioned that before. Out there, it's being built there, but it's not necessarily going to be, the server's not going to be run from there. Look, the South African power outages, look, I heard that they had it sorted out, but they are still cutting power and to certain parts out there, so they still have an issue. I mean, I think someone's rescued, what I heard, someone's rescued their power company, and to the tune of 100 billion. So hopefully they, from their point of view, I mean, fancy wanting to, or having to live in a place where your power's cut 4 and 5 hours every day during this time. So anyway, hopefully they have got that sorted out. I haven't heard anything because I've been able to do some contacting there when I needed to without being held up. So as far as I know, they're up and running. But once we have servers running, our servers are not managed in South Africa, so it's not as though we're reliant on South Africa and their power to have things happening. Look, I asked Felicia too, any comments on the Chase Bank being one of the first banks. Look, I did read on that as well, and I don't know if it's for the general public. I think it's more for an internal thing they're using, so I don't know if it's like ours is just for the general public, but they're using it for internal transferring of funds globally, so for their own customers. I think you'd have to read up on that, so I'm not really sure on just what they're offering out there. Yeah, look, with the Ringer's asked again about the e-commerce and will there be an application to introduce the local stores like Subways and any other retailer? There's no retailer that can't become involved. Obviously, we won't accept retailers that are not, selling something that's obviously illegal and has to be within a guideline. But there's really no retailers that will be blocked from being part of this out there, and so you can really talk to anyone from the local takeaway food store right up to a major chain outlet. So this will be a loyalty program that just can't be matched by anything that they're doing. John says, can you schedule a weekly webinar to discuss progress in general and make a short PowerPoint with a brief statements of the issues and progress? We've done that now. If I don't hear anything within the next week, it's whatever we release now with it, John. So we can only release when we get the information out there. So we would like to have a regular webinar, but I don't want to keep going over the same things. And one of the things that it's the most painful thing that you'd ever want to be going through is to telling people that something's going to be happening and it doesn't happen. So I really feel uncomfortable. I mean, we're in the hands of programmers and they make promises to us, and if they don't keep them, we've got an issue ourselves. So anyway, Yeah, as Angelina said there, we're not looking at members talking to merchants just yet. We want to educate people out there because we really want to make sure that we have a core group of people that understand this so they can go to merchants and talk to them rather than just willy-nilly going there and really not understanding what they're talking about. And so that's why this group of founding members will be given quite a bit of information about where we're at with it, and obviously be the backbone of what we're going to be marketing out there, because we do want to make sure we train everybody that of what they can and can't say. So I'm just giving you the details on what we're working on and have been for some time, and so now the banks have signed off on certain aspects of it. We're just clarifying the legalities and how we go about marketing it. All right, look, I'm going to turn this back over to Angelina, and I do want to thank everybody for attending this webinar. I'm sorry I couldn't give a little bit more positive stuff out there, but I believe that we are certainly on the move for it, and I'm very interested to see the outcome of this London visit. Hopefully I get some report by the end of our week or possibly on the weekend. If we do get something that we see happens over the weekend or early next week, we will call an early webinar as soon as we know on this, so that we can keep members up to speed and understanding what's going on with the investors. I guess the most important thing that's coming from this is the investors are still there.
Our webinar recording will be in the rooms in about 24 to 48 hours, and